Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of the Survivor 41 finale. We are coming to you guys literally maybe 2 minutes after Erica was officially voted sole survivor. Obvious, I guess, spoiler alert for those who are watching this video.
Absolutely. Canada won. Here we are, first Canadian winner. It was really well deserved. Erica played a solid game.
Listen, I'm gonna just eat so much crow in this video that I'm just gonna start right now. Erica, I'm sorry. I was not I did not think much of you early on this game. I own my faults.
No, I think to be fair, a lot of people didn't think much of Erica at the beginning of the game. And at the beginning of the game, there was just a lot of people, and a lot of people were getting, more airtime, like SHAN, like Ricard. It was hard to really know what she was doing and where she was fitting in.
Well, we're gonna get into, how this happened, why Erica is sitting here, why she is a deserved winner,
Yes.
Xander's mistakes, I think we can call them that.
Wow, 0 votes for Xander. We are going to talk about that.
All right, well, before we go further, though, you guys be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have had a great time discussing Survivor with all of you all season. We have some really fun stuff coming over the holidays, including Cobra Kai Season 4 coming at the very, very end of this month.
Yeah, and we have a few more videos coming up, but just in case we don't get to see you again before Christmas and you are celebrating, happy Christmas to everybody out there.
Yes.
We've got some pictures up on our Instagram. Our neighbors are the Griswolds. You should see this house
Yeah.
that is next door to us. It is wild. We have a picture up there. It is Matt and Jess TV. You can follow us there for more of our Christmas adventures. We're going to have tons of stuff up this weekend too. We're making cookies. It's going to be a good time.
A very, very good time. You know who else is probably having a good time right now?
Erica, yes.
Erica, okay.
Congratulations,
Yes.
Erica. I know you are not watching this video, but you played one hell of a game.
Okay, so the thing I want to start off here is that it's something that for some reason has stuck with me, and I know I'm already gonna bring up Boston Rob like 2.5 minutes into this video, but
Oh boy.
last season when he voted for Tony instead of Natalie, one of the things he said when he was like chewing the scenery in the voting confessional, he was just like, you should have taken this guy out, and gave his vote to Tony instead of Natalie. And the thing that I was thinking about was when Erica won that immunity at the final five after already getting that advantage, and Probst said that Ricard was kind of closing in on that puzzle. It's obviously hard to say for sure if he would have won or not if Erica didn't, but Erica single-handedly made sure that the biggest threat and the best player of this season did not win immunity so that he could be taken out. That to me is her signature move.
It is. And for Xander as well, I mean, there was that moment where he was like, oh, maybe I'll play my idol on Ricard. We're buddies. I'm Uncle Xander. I was sitting here at home being like, oh my God, what is happening? If he plays that idol on Ricard, that is a Ricard move. That is not a move for you, Xander. He's like, this is a move for me. There was a couple things he said tonight where I was just like, what? Like when Xander was like, I'm an underdog. I'm like, you are sitting there with Erica and Deshawn and you are an underdog. You've been looked at as a threat all season. You kept Ricard around till like the last minute because you were like, I'm next in line as the biggest threat.
Yeah.
If he goes home, you are not an underdog. You've been sitting on an idol all season long. On what planet, Xander?
Listen, Xander, okay.
But Xander did make the right move. He did not play the idol on Ricard. I was really happy to see that. He played it on himself just to be safe. That was great. And I was like, okay, good for you.
Xander, you seem like a very nice guy. I will give you do that.
And he seems very charming.
There were a lot of moments this season where I think we looked at Xander and was like, all right, man, he's really thinking about the game. He's making some big moves. But then there was also like you mentioned, these puzzling moments for him. And the fact that he even thought about keeping Ricard was puzzling. And I think it speaks to the size of his heart. Maybe he's young and he's young.
You're in this game, but also you're making these relationships and you're making these connections and you're becoming really close with people, and that's part of the game, right? It really can cloud your mind.
I just think Xander in, 5 or 6 years, if he ever comes back, I think he'll be more of a force to be reckoned with, because sometimes watching him play was sort of like watching like a baby deer kind of skate along the ice, where occasionally it'll look really graceful, but then it'll fall over every now and then and have to get back up.
There's something really interesting about the fact that Xander got 0 votes. And because he is very sort of charming and big heart, and he did play a fairly good social game. Everyone on the jury is like, yeah, we like you, and you were there for me, and all that sort of thing. It was just kind of like they let him sit on that idol all season long. And while he thought that he was a threat, and I mean, a lot of us watching at home were like, oh, he's doing all right. Why isn't anybody flushing up that idol? Maybe this is the reason why. And he really wasn't as big of a threat as he kind of thought he was. And that it was like, well, how do you explain that game at the end where you just had an idol all game long that you could play at any point?
I think there is something revolutionary in Survivor strategy about this season. And this is about to get into a really nerdy corner. So bear with me, everyone. But okay. Xander, and maybe we should call this the Xander from now on, where he finds this idol really early. Everybody knows he has this idol. And how I think everyone else sort of neutralized the idol was they were just like, all right, Xander's got an idol. You know what? He's kind of by himself. We don't really care about Xander. Let's just kind of leave Xander out of the planning. And basically, because Xander had this idol, he wasn't taken out, but he also had no real opportunity to like claim any sort of moves, like other than, I guess, what happened with Leanna and her advantage. Like, what else is Xander's like signature strategic move other than saying, I have an idol?
Yeah, that really was it. He was the boy who cried idol all season long, very likable guy, but he wasn't able to really build a lot of a resume, where then we saw Erica really behind a lot of big moves and winning her own immunities and going over to Exile Island for 2 days, being taken out of all the social game for that long. And that was, a real disadvantage to her as well. And she just overall played the better game. And I think that it helped. I will say this.
Yeah.
Ricard in the jury was really there for her, saying, not everyone got to know you as well as I did or whatever, but you did play this really good game, and I really hope everybody here sees it. I think that helped a lot. And man, did he ever come down onto SHAN. Every moment he got.
Yeah.
It was he just pounded on him.
Listen, Ricard may not have been in the final 3, but Ricard is still the major force to be reckoned with in this finale. Like, I will start by saying, I love this guy. I love everything about Ricard. And I am such a Ricard fanboy. I love his gameplay. I love his story. I think he's a great narrator. He was great in the final tribal. Not to take away from Erica's win, but I think Ricard wins easily, maybe unanimously, if he's there in the final 3.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff said it best. A lot of the best players of this game have never won and will never win. And it's true. It's the same with Big Brother a lot of times, too. The people who are playing the best games typically get taken out because they are playing a good game and everyone can see it.
I'm about to regret immensely what I'm about to do.
No,
somewhere when Probst said that line about some of the best players didn't win, Russell Hantz was off in a corner somewhere being like, I told y'all I was the best player of all time. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
All right, Russell can
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Stay in the corner.
Russell, no, not one of the best players of all time. Sorry, Russell. No, okay. No, the Ricard was fantastic.
Yeah.
Great in the jury.
Yeah, I hope to see him again on the show. I really do.
I really, really do. And okay, now we're at the final 4.
And being there a week before his kid is going to be born. Oh my goodness. As soon as I heard that story, I was like, Xander, if you take him to the end on top of everything else, all his wins, all his strategic moves, on top of it, he sacrificed maybe being there for the birth of his child. That is an absolute slam dunk win. I would just been like, just take the money, Ricard, just take it. But
Mhm.
Erica played a great game. I'm really glad she won.
I feel like Ricard must have known he was going before that Final Five tribal, and he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna get me my airtime, and then he just decided to lay it all out on the line there.
For sure. And it's going to be a really nice moment for his kid when his kid is older to be able
Yeah.
to watch it back and be like, hey, even though he wasn't able to be there necessarily, we don't know if he was born before or after everything
Yeah.
was, done. But they can look back and look at that and be like, my dad was thinking about me. It's a nice moment.
It is a nice moment, and let's talk about a not nice moment here for Xander, because this Xander, this may be your big mistake. This may be your wah 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 moment. So
He had two tonight.
okay, well, this is one wah 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 moment. So you win the Final Four immunity, which on paper, fantastic. You get a ticket to the Final Three. Good for you. But you also get to decide, who do you want to have with you there? Why in the world are you not saying, this is the last time we'll do it all season, Heather, come with me to the Final Three. You can
Yes.
do this. You're there with me. Let's make Erica and Deshawn battle it out.
I think that he just didn't take Erica because he just didn't see her as a threat. And we even saw with the jury that, when Ricard was like, oh, you guys just, you might not see everything that Erica did, but she did a lot. I think he really didn't see her as that threat. Now, he also said that he felt that she could make fire and that he didn't want her to have sort of a slam dunk that she goes in, makes fire, goes to the end, is like, I made fire, I won this challenge, I did this, I did that, and he didn't want to deal with that. Fair enough. However, the minute that you saw that she was having problems making fire, you should have just put her up. Even if it wasn't true, because we did see her go over to Exile Island and make the fire. So maybe she got lucky. Xander didn't know.
It's just such a cataclysmic mistake on his part to not put Erica in there. Because this is the other thing. Let's say Erica is a fire-making genius or whatever else. You don't know what people are like under pressure. It's like,
Yes.
in real life, I can hit a buzzer just fine. But when they put me in the elimination room on Beauty and the Geek, I could not hit a buzzer to save my life. I got nervous. I was sweaty. I couldn't handle the pressure. And that is a very, very tense environment. And yeah, you may give Erica a hero moment. You may increase her chances of winning. But guess what? Not putting her in the fire making challenge does. It is playing it too safe, and you are basically saying, okay, I'm going to leave this into the hands of the jury rather than allowing myself the opportunity to really take this person out of the game.
Absolutely. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, we saw Heather and Deshawn in that challenge. We saw Deshawn's fire go out at the point that Heather's was already burning down like that string, and Deshawn still won. You just don't know. And I mean, part of it's the unpredictability of the player, but it's the unpredictability of fire.
I love that fire making challenge, by the way. Like, I know everybody in
it was intense tonight.
Yeah, it was intense. Like, there was at one point, it looked like neither one of them was getting anything, and then it was really, really close, and I actually had legit no idea what was going to happen by the end of it.
Okay, here's Xander's other mistake.
Okay.
And I know it seems like we're railing on him, but I mean, personally, I liked Xander and I liked watching Xander.
I did
I just
too.
think he's made some mistakes of why he ended up with 0 votes. And I didn't think it should have gone exactly that way, but anyways, I'm not voting, so what do I know? I think that one of the mistakes that he made was when he was talking to the jury and putting down Erica and Heather by saying that he feels that he knows the jury's minds better than the jury knows their own minds. The minute that he was talking about it and saying it kind of in that way, you could see the looks on their face where they were like, he was done. He had lost their votes. He had lost their sort of, just all of it. It was just done.
I think it is a big thing in Survivor that you can't, whether it be intentional or not, insult other people's intelligence or make them feel like you're saying something, especially at a tribal environment, that isn't true. Because I think that hurt Deshawn too. Because even before we got to the final tribal, we had Deshawn at various points try to take credit for things that weren't necessarily fully his, and saying things like, oh, when I made this move, when a lot of different people made this move. And Deshaun was just sort of like an emotional tornado at times where he would contemplate doing something or maybe do something, and because things worked out that way, he kind of felt like it was fully his move when really it wasn't. I appreciate his ambition and how much Deshaun likes the game, but he was messy. And no offense to Deshaun, Xander should have had more votes than Deshaun. I think Deshaun was third place kind of in my mind.
Yeah, it's tough because Xander did have some more moves. He won some more challenges, and I know it's not only about that. Really, when it comes down to all of it, it is a lot to do with jury management. These are the people that are deciding whether or not you are going to end up winning this or not. And he was part of, a big alliance, and he ended up sort of having hands in his own alliance going. That's going to end up making them not want to throw their votes to him. It's a mistake, and I really think that is one of the biggest things that hurt Xander tonight as well.
Okay, now we know Erica's the winner of the season, and congrats, Erica. But you know who the other winner of this season is?
Ricard.
Well, yes, Ricard, but the Survivor editors, because you know what they did? They gave a big ol' wag of a certain finger to a lot of us nerds out here who I'm pointing at me. This is me. who were sitting here being like, the edit, Erica can't win because of the edit. And you know what? They just told us all to shut up and take a seat. And I'm really happy about that because, she didn't get a lot of airtime early on this season. We all sort of wrote her off and we were like, Shan's winning.
No, but by the middle, they were really starting to give her more airtime. I mean, they were going to have to anyway. She was starting to win things. She was part of big moves that were happening. She really was there. Was it the same sort of edit as like Xander was getting? No. But she was still getting a really good edit. I mean, she deserves this.
2 weeks ago, I was saying that she couldn't win the game.
I know. And even before we had come on the video, I was arguing that absolutely she could have won this for sure. And it was, a good debate. Sort of, what has she done? Okay, and what has Xander done? He sat on an idol all season. He wasn't... I really think that idol screwed his game because he really didn't have to play as hard as he would have if he didn't. It wasn't swinging it around every time he went to jury, be like, by the way, idol, and people be like, well, we don't have to really deal with that then. And he couldn't build his resume the way that Erica had to. That's why for me it was just kind of laughable when he was like, I'm the underdog. I'm like, look at who you're sitting with. What are you talking about?
Okay, that's a perfect transition here to sort of spend a couple of minutes at the end of this video talking a little bit about season 42, Survivor 42. Now, we are recording this during the after show, so whatever's happening over there, we don't know about it right now. We were just so excited after the end of this episode. We were like, okay, let's talk about this right now, because regardless of whatever they figure out for Survivor 42, I think one of the biggest things they need to focus on are just cutting out the twists that don't really have that much of a point. And it was the way that Xander's idol was found and how production basically screwed him in the sense that everyone knew about that idol through, he made some mistakes with it, but not everything was his fault. Those passwords, people were going to figure that out. Like, they need to stop that moving forward.
Yes, they should have trusted their cast. This was a really good cast. There were people here that were really here to play, and they did, and they played hard, and they put their all into it, including Heather, who, didn't win anything, but she never stopped trying. Like, it felt like everybody that was there really wanted to be there. They put everything they could into it and got buried under a mountain of twists.
Yeah, and it's a bummer because this season I feel like was really positive in a lot of ways, and I think we needed that because there were some negative seasons of Survivor, and we've all been in a pretty hard time. And trust your cast, and also I'm going to get harsh here, but don't lie to your cast. And this, I'm going into...
We're 20 minutes in, and here it is, Shady Matt.
Shady Matt is coming... You know what? Shady Matt is basically just copying people like Danny and other people in the game who got so mad about this hourglass twist. And this is why I hated the do or die twist. I made that very, very clear. But upon reflection, I will proclaim that the hourglass twist, and, obviously to some extent Erica benefited from it, but worst twist of the season because they blatantly lied to the players and sort of said, okay, you guys win this challenge, you're safe, when they weren't safe. And it's at least with the do or die, you kind of understood what you were getting yourself into leading into it happening. But I never want to see another twist again where you're basically saying something to the players and then after the fact sort of pulling the rug out and then being like, ha 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 ha. No, terrible, bad.
No, I agree. I think that it's kind of crappy, and it does mean that going forward that you're gonna have players that are gonna be worried about that even when Jeff says you're safe, are you really? When is he gonna, pull the rug out from under you? It's tough. It adds another layer to the game that doesn't need to be there.
No.
The one person you should be able to trust in this game is Jeff. Is that whatever Jeff says is the way that it's going to rock and roll? And if Jeff is now lying to you as well, then it's kind of like, okay, so what? Like, you're the person who's you're running the game for us. So we listen to what you're telling us and we do what you're telling us, and you're telling us we're safe, and now you're lying. So great. Thanks, Jeff.
It's a fun season in the sense that I wouldn't say it's, one of my top 5 ever or anything, but I think it's a really fun, solid season.
Yeah, it was fun.
It works almost in spite of production's efforts to overcomplicate it and throw all this stuff in there that didn't even really matter all that much.
I just truly wish there wasn't as many twists. If you want to throw in a couple twists here or there, sure, no problem. I really wish that the idols hadn't been so obvious because I think it really could have played the game a lot better. I liked this cast a lot, and they did really get buried under all the advantages.
Okay, well, let's turn this over to you guys, because would you have loved this season even more if you had more of an opportunity to get to know Erica instead of hearing...
First Canadian winner, yes!
Yes, see? And we could have known so much more about her and her background and being Canadian, except we had Probst telling us about twists every episode. But no, what did you think about Erica's win, about how the finale played out? Who do you want to see back for another season? Share in the comments and hit that like button, subscribe for all sorts of other updates. Thank you guys, and we'll see you here next time.